So for the week by week overview, my mentor teacher, when she was doing this unit, it took about 2 months. But there were a lot of things that really factored into that. And one of the main ones is she does not assign homework. Every Thursday is a read day for their students, so they don't do anything related to the unit. They read their own books that are related to something else. And then they also had spring break, they had testing days, subs, they had a lockdown, and a lot of other things that interrupted that. So the way that I've chosen to adapt it is to make sure that all of the content stays the same, but just including a homework element. So anything that isn't done in class, which the majority of it would be listening to the play, would be done by the students outside of class. So week one, which these are the dates that I have listed here, the dates that she had on her calendar. These are the days that she presented this information to the students. But I'm including all of this in just the first week. So the first day they tackle Is Othello a Racist Player, a play about racism. Then they look at soliloquy and they have a video of an example of that, which talks about alliteration and assonance. And then they start to watch Act One. And then you can see on the other side, they continued to watch through Act One. And then they did like a close reading. They analyzed Iago's soliloquy within those lines, and they looked at specifically punctuation, literary devices, ends of lines. And then they do a summary as a group and then an analysis independently. In the second week, they continue discussing the soliloquy if they need to continue wrapping that up. But then they start going in to Act Two, and so they start listening to that, and then they watch another video that looks at shared language, questions and answers, statuses and names. This is in Duologue. And so then they go through in small groups and do a close reading. And then they also, they continue working on those things over several days. And then they also have permission slips to watch clips. They don't watch anything that would be in any way bothersome to any students, but because it is a part of the larger play that they need to get a permission slip for, they have to get that filled out. But they continue to take notes on their character sheets, and then they have a lot of that group work. And then in the third week, they look at monologue, which specifically imagery, meter, word choice, and then they have a video with that, and they do close reading in Act 4, and then they focus on those monologue elements. And then what they do with that is they write a 3-sentence summary in groups of the speech, and then they write their own analysis of those monologue elements, and then they do a gallery walk. So this could span over the course of several days. So as groups, they get up, they walk around, they read the paragraphs, and they share their work with their peers, and then they give each other feedback, and then they discuss the feedback with their group, and then they decide what they want to focus on moving forward as they're getting closer to that summative assessment, which for them is going to be writing an analysis essay. So then they finished doing a close read. My mentor teacher was sick for a few days, and she did have a study guide with a lot of, she had text dependent questions, and it was a few pages of those, and they had several days to work on them. They could do the reading or the questions in groups or work independently, whatever they felt comfortable with. And then the last week is their summative assessment work. So this is just a bigger version of what was seen on the summative assessment page. They brainstorm. They have these different checkpoints, and then they give each other feedback on Turnitin. They have a system that will allow them to give each other feedback in a really cool and specific way. So that's how they give each other feedback, and then they turn it in on Sunday at the end of the week, so they have a little bit of time to apply that feedback. And as far as differentiation, one of the benefits is that the pace and the approach is to help them to get a deeper understanding, but still go at a pace that suits their needs, and it's not reliant on them reading every word or even reading major chunks of text, because Shakespeare can be really intense and frankly boring, especially for 11th graders. So giving them especially listening to do as homework is still not